Okay, today's video is going to talk about the prism and how to calculate the volume. Now, typically, kids want to say that it's length times width times height, and that's what equals the volume. Now, this is an equation that works on some prisms, but it does not work on every single prism that we've seen on other videos. So what I want to do is take a look at this prism right here. If I take a look at this prism, I can see that it has a square base, and then it's connected by rectangles. Well, I'm going to denote these in the picture. I'll call this the length, this the width, and this the height. Now, a lot of kids want to think that the height is the up and down, but I'm going to refer to this distance as the height, and another meaning for the height is the distance between the bases. So I have length, width, and then I have a height, which connects my two square bases. So if I take a look at this square base, I can see that there are 9 squares that make up that base. So we'll know that that distance is 3. We know that that is going to be 3 units. And if I were to continue on with this, I could see that this right here would continue on and give me 6 units. Well, instead of remembering just length times width times height, let's come up with a little bit better formula that can be used for all prisms. So here we have length times width. Well, what this refers to is the area of the base. Because I can see here that 3 times 3 will give me the area of this base, which is 9 squares. So I'm going to give this a variable capital B. Height, we're just going to refer to as h. So h, but I got to remember that this stands for the distance between the bases, or it is the height of object, which is also the distance between the bases. So going through, my volume is going to be area of the base times the height. Now, if I take a look at the units for this, I know that this is going to be 3 units, that's going to be 3 units, and that's going to be 6 units. So the area of the base is 3 units times 3 units. The height is going to be 6 units, and if I multiply all that together, that is going to be 54 units cubed, because volume is measured in cube units, or how many of these little cubes are in the shape. So instead of just saying length times width times height for every single prism that we see, we want to have a better formula, which is going to be volume is going to be area of the base times the height. So here we have many of the prisms that we've talked about so far in previous videos. And if I want to find the volume of these, volume, remember, is going to be the area of the base times the height. Now in this example, I'm going to call this the base, and then this will be the height. So yes, length times width times height works in this example, but let's remember that I'm finding the area of the base, and then h is going to be the distance between those bases. In this next one, I have a triangular prism, but I don't have a length or a width over here. But I do have my base, which is a triangle, and I have this height, or my distance between the bases. So my volume here is going to be the area of the base times the height, and in this example, the base is the area of the triangle times the height. Over here, more like the same. I shade in the base. So here, the volume is going to be the area of the base times the height, where the height is the distance between the bases. In this example, though, the base is going to be the area of a pentagon, times my distance between the bases. And I can continue that for all of these, shade in the base. So volume equals area of the base times the height. The height is the distance between those bases. So in this example, the volume is the area of the trapezoid times the height. And I can continue that with all of these. Here is the area of the base. This would then be the height or the distance between the bases. And same with this. Here's a base, here's a height, and remember that is the distance between the bases. So for all of these, I like to shade in what my base shape is, find the area of that base shape, whether it be a triangle, a pentagon, a hexagon here, a trapezoid, and go through that the volume is the area of the base times the height. Okay, so let's do a quick example. Right here we see we have a trapezoid prism. So the volume is going to be the area of the base times the height. Now remember, the trapezoid is going to be this base, which is the same as the base in front. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the area of the trapezoid and multiply by the height of the object, which is going to be 15. So if I remember the area of the trapezoid, the equation is 1/2 the height times base 1 plus base 2. Now some kids get confused with this height. Now this height is different than the height of the object. The height of the trapezoid refers to this length of 5, where the height of the object refers to something else, which is 15. So pay attention to the different numbers that we have. Even though we have the same variable here, they have different meanings. So now if I plug everything in, it's 1/2, the height is 5, base 1 is 10, base 2 is 6, and I am multiplying all of this by 15. So this is going to give me a 40, and times 15 is going to give me 600 units cubed. And that's how many cubes will fit inside that shape. We're going to use the same equation in order to do this cylinder, but remember, a cylinder has different measurements. Here is going to be the radius, and here is going to be the height or the distance between the bases. So I'm using the same equation, but the only thing that's different is the base is the area of a circle. And h still refers to the distance between the circular bases. So if I were to replace b with the area equation, that'd be pi r squared times h. And this is going to give me the volume equation of the cylinder. So if I were to go through and change some of these numbers, let's make this a 3 and we'll make this a 7. Plugging it in, I get pi times 3 squared times 7, which is going to give me 9 times 7, which is going to be 63 pi units cubed. Now remember, this is my exact answer. And if I wanted the decimal approximation, I would just take 63 times pi, which is 197.9 units cubed.